Yes, with Nikki, and I'm here this week with an emphasis on using framelits to cut out items. And I've actually used these framelits here that I had in a Stampin' Up set to create my own stencil. I've used a full sheet of A4 because I've got the Big Shot Pro, but obviously if you haven't got the Big Shot, or if you've got a silhouette, you could make it on your silhouette, or you could just do smaller ones and sort of piece them together if you've got the ordinary size Big Shot. And I'm just using some Heidi Swap shines now, and I think I've had salmon and peach, and then Jen Hadfield gold, and I just want to spray behind my A4 frame because I'm going to use the whole piece. And I've kept all the hearts that I've cut out, and it's actually a piece of Vicky Boutin foundation card, so it takes mixed media really well. And I'm just adding some spray now to those. They dried incredibly quickly. It did help as well, obviously, that I sort of blotted them, but it gives you a nice raised effect on them as well. So as you can see, all I'm going to do then is use all these hearts then as embellishments. And I'm using some Jen Hadfield papers here, and I've got the scripty one that I'm going to cut a little piece of to go on the right hand side. The text is about sort of like family and things that you do with family and love and things like that, and I thought that went well with the photo that I'm going to use, which is actually of my husband and I on our wedding day, probably the last time my hair looked tidy and anyone was able to do anything with it. So I'm just using my Sizzix tool now to rough up the edges. I've got a fantastic Tim Holtz one that I can never ever find, and instead I use one with a really sharp knife on the end, which is just asking for trouble, I think. So there I am using my ATG gun to stick that down, and I'm just checking then that I've got enough sort of mixed media behind my heart stencil, not stencil, well, I suppose it's a mask, but I'm adding it to the page. I don't know, I can't think what that's called. And I'm just going to use this stencil now, which is a Heidi Swap one. I'm using some Premium modelling paste. I don't know why I bother putting it up there, because I then cover it with my photo. So if I were you, before you decide to add your modelling paste, just make sure you know exactly where your photo's going, because otherwise you'll be wasting your time. So I'm just using the hearts. It's really important to clean these off straight away because they go hard quite quickly and it's a bit of a nightmare to get back off then. So I've now got to put that to one side because I'm really impatient, and I'm going to use this offcut of card. I think, once again, this is one of the Jen Hadfield pieces. I'm just going to sort of mat my photo there, and as you can see it doesn't go all the way around, but that's okay because I'm going to use another piece as well. So I thought, even though my bouquet is oranges and yellows, because this is like a corally pink, it went quite nicely rather than a pink. There I'm using my very trusty rotary trimmer to mat my photos. It's amazing how quickly I can go when I'm in fast forward. I wish I could do my housework like this. So I'm going to add that now, that mask that I've created to the front of my page, sorry, using just some Tombow. And then I've got a plan for the hearts. I've also cut some of the hearts out of the pattern papers that I'm using from the set. So there they all are. There's my little tub of embellishments. So I'm going to put some of them up on foam pads, just sort of so they're not flush in the cutout, if that makes sense. They're just sort of standing proud of it. And then some of them I'm going to stick down with glue. I think that's the most time-consuming thing, is taking the backs off foam pads. So then there's some of the ones I added mixed media too. So it's such a great way to make your own embellishments for your page. I love using framelits and punches to make my own cut files, because that's all I've done effectively is made my own cut file using just 3 different heart framelits. So I just keep bringing my photo in, because I told you, when I'm sort of scrapbooking, I then sometimes forget the size of the photo I'm trying to use. And so as you can see, I'm not going straight back into where the hearts were cut out. And then I've got these really little tiny ones. if you can see in the little tub, there's a little row of red hearts all stuck together. That's also on the framelit, and from the centre then come these little tiny ones, so I'm using those. I was pointing at the screen then as I was describing that to you, because obviously in my head you can all see exactly what I'm doing when I'm doing the voiceover. So there's some lovely, I think this was in the Jen Hadfield embellishment kit as well, some lovely little phrases and some bits and bobs that go really nicely with the theme of the page. That's the lovely heart rainbow paper. The rainbow paper, sorry. I'm looking at a heart and I'm just a bit like catchphrase, say you see. So as you can see, some of them then I am sticking proud and this, sorry, flush. They're going straight back into where they came out. And then I'm just going to stick my little heart around. This pickup tool is perfect because it's got a little bit of putty on the end, so it gives you a little bit of control then rather than me trying to do it with my stumpy fingers. So I'm just sort of filling in sections now. I'm still waiting for that paste to dry, you see, on the right hand side, because even though it dries quite quickly, it doesn't seem to dry very quickly when you're waiting for it to dry. So then I'm putting some of the smaller hearts into the bigger heart cutouts. But as you can see, I've used minimal embellishments really and minimal pattern papers, because the great thing is about creating your own, you could use all your scraps to cut those hearts out if you wanted to, and then is a great way to bash some of your stash. I find actually lots of the prompts in Scrap Academy are great for getting us to see our items in a slightly different way and to also to use what we've got. So I'm just tucking my photo under the one heart and on the side of the other. I've just got a few more embellishments to go. I'm doing this voiceover quite a few days after I actually made the layout. So it's like a brand new thing for me. So there's a nice sort of banner piece there, so I just wanted to roll it, but I found it had too much white space around it, and it would have covered up too much of my layout. I didn't really want to cover my husband's head. Well, not on this day anyway. There are days actually I probably do want to cover my husband's head, but this wasn't one of those days. So here I am just putting my floral embellishments on then. That some of them as well, I just altered to the size that I needed, because that one was like flowers come out of an envelope. And as you can see, it's come along really quickly. I think the longest part was making my cut file, and the rest then, once I did that part, the rest of it just flowed nicely. I'm just going to put on some finishing touches, some of the little tiny hearts, and then at the end I'll put some finished photos of the layout. So I can't wait to see what you do with your framelits or your punches. Let's get creative and make use of what we've got. Now this is me now wondering whether do I need to add any more. Sometimes I need to just tell myself stop, and I am going to add a few more splatters, and I think then that will be done. The number of times I've splashed on my photo, so now I've learned to cover your photos. That's my top tip. Cover your photos when you're doing splatters, otherwise it'll look like you've got a huge gold speckle on your head. And there we go, all done. So thank you for joining me. I can't wait to see what we get up to. Bye bye.